You know, we all want to live a long life, right? Of course we do. But what if just counting the years misses a huge part of the story? Today, we're going to dive into some really fascinating data from Europe that uncovers a massive, and I mean massive, paradox about the lives we're actually living.
So, to kick things off, let's start with a simple question. Where do you think people live the longest in Europe? Take a guess. This seems straightforward, but believe me, it's just the first step on a very, very interesting journey. Let's take a look at the data.
And there you have it. The top spots? Well, they go to countries like Spain, Switzerland, Italy. Probably not a huge surprise for many of you. And at the other end of the spectrum, you've got Bulgaria, Romania, and Latvia. If you look at the map, you can pretty clearly see this east-west divide. So far, this all feels pretty familiar.
Okay, but this is where our story really begins. This simple map, this idea of longevity, it raises a much deeper, much more important question. Does living longer automatically mean you're living better? Are all those extra years actually spent in good health?
This really forces us to look past the number of candles on a birthday cake and ask about the quality of those years. See, it's not just about our lifespan, it's about our health span. We need a new way to measure life.
And when we switch to that map, whoa, the picture really changes. This isn't life expectancy anymore. This shows healthy life years. And all of a sudden, Sweden and Malta jump right to the top. Latvia is still near the bottom, but the whole landscape has shifted. Spain and Italy, they're no longer leading the pack. So what in the world are we looking at here?
Healthy life years, or HYLY, is such a powerful idea. It's not just about how long you're going to live. It's about how many of those years you can expect to live without a major health problem or disability holding you back. It's really a measure of quality, not just quantity.
So now we've got these two big ideas, total years and healthy years. How do they connect? I mean, if you live in a country with a high life expectancy, does that automatically guarantee you'll have a ton of healthy years too? Let's dig in.
And for the most part, yeah, it does. You can see a pretty clear pattern here. There's a strong positive link. Countries where people live longer also tend to be the places where they enjoy more years of good health. Generally speaking, the two go hand in hand.
But, and this is a really big but, it is not a perfect one-to-one relationship, not even close. Some countries are just way more efficient at turning those extra years of life into healthy years. Take Sweden, for example. It's a total standout. It really excels at squeezing a high number of healthy years out of its long lifespans. But then you look at a country like Latvia, where it seems to be more of a struggle. The gains in just living longer don't translate as well into gains in healthy living.
All right, now we get to what I think is the most fascinating part of all this. What happens when we take this data and split it up by gender? Because this is where a truly mind-bending paradox starts to show up. Just take a look at these numbers. On average, across the EU, women live longer than men. That's no surprise to anyone. But now, look at the healthy life years. That huge 5.7-year gap in just being alive, it shrinks to less than one single year of healthy life. And look at that last line. It means women spend, on average, nearly 20 years in an unhealthy state compared to just under 14 for men. Let's just put a pin in that for a second. Women have a pretty big advantage when it comes to longevity. On average, they live 5.7 years longer than men. That's significant.
But of those nearly 6 extra years of life, how many are actually spent in good health? Less than 1. Just 0.9 years. The vast majority of that extra time is spent dealing with health issues. That right there is the core of this whole paradox.
And this paradox gets even sharper, even clearer, when we stop looking at averages and we break it down country by country. It really becomes a tale of two very, very different gaps.
First up, let's look at the gap in total life expectancy, the one we all know about. And yep, as expected, in every single country, the bar is positive. Women outlive men everywhere. The biggest gaps are in places like Lithuania and Latvia. This is the world as we've always understood it. No surprises here. But just hold on, because the moment we switch our focus from total years to healthy years, the entire story gets flipped completely on its head. And here it is. Just look at how those bars shrink. For so many countries, the female advantage in healthy years is tiny. But look closer. Look at places like the Netherlands, Finland, Austria. The gap, it's negative. That's right, in those countries, men can actually expect to live more years in good health than women, even though their overall lives are shorter. It's just an incredible reversal.
So all of this data really leaves us with a huge question to chew on, not just for policymakers, but for all of us. What should our goal actually be?
Is it just about adding more years to our life, or is it about adding more life to our years? That's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.